Hi there, Leonard Parker here. In this video, I'm going to go over some on-page SEO basics that if you're just getting started with SEO or you're going back to your website and just to do a SEO refresh, should get you started in the right direction. Now, as I mentioned, this video is targeted to beginners, so if you do SEO every day or you have experience, it might not be the best video for you. But thanks for watching anyway. So, first, I'm going to show some of these things on the front end, so how they will look in the Google search results, and then I'm going to show you how to edit those things on the back end of WordPress. So for these videos, I'm only going to be going over WordPress. If you use Joomla or Squarespace, it's going to be the same concepts, but it's going to be a little bit different on how to modify each variable. So I just did a quick search for Houston dentist, and here I want to show you the page titles and the meta description. So your page title is going to be this part here that's in blue, and you can actually linked to that particular page. That's your page title. Your meta description is this little snippet here. So just a few things to remember for your page title and your meta descriptions. Your page title should be between 65 to 70 characters. That range varies because each of these characters, they have a different pixel width. So you really should go by pixel width. But if you're not trying to get that detailed, then 65 to 70 characters should be your target. Now your meta description, on the other hand, and these can be tricky. You want to make sure that your meta description's at least 70 characters, but you want to kind of target or go for the higher end of that range. Go for 155 to 160 characters. That way, you can make sure that it fits and it's not cut off, as you can see here. And also, sometimes Google will just pull random text from your page if it's applicable to that search. So you want to make sure that it's applicable to whatever phrase you're going for or search phrase you're going for that particular page. But you also want to make sure that it's not too long, so it's not cut off here. So going to the WordPress backend now. So your page title, these are modified using different types of plugins. I recommend Yoast, especially if you're getting started with SEO. It does have its drawbacks when you're looking at more advanced SEO tactics, but if you're just getting started, it'll cover the basics. Now with Yoast, it's going to be very at the bottom. You'll see this little section here. So the way you edit your page title, you just go to edit snippet here, and then you just put in whatever title you want for that page. And this is the title that's going to be showing up in the search results. So typically what I do, I have some target keyword that I go for with the page title, and then I always like to include either a hyphen or a pipe symbol and my company name. And that way, that adds a bit of branding to the page title so people know which website they're going to. So scroll a little bit further down here and you can see the meta description. And so your meta description, it doesn't have a direct impact on your SEO, but it's still important because your meta description is almost like a mini advertisement for that particular page on your website. So you want to think about it. If you're driving down 45 or if you're driving down I-10, you want to make sure that you want to target, imagine that particular message that you use for your meta description, imagine that was a billboard. So what would you say in that message to draw eyeballs, to entice the click in this case? And so, usually you want to, call out your target audience. So let's say if you're a Houston dentist and you really focus on pediatric dentistry, then your target audience are parents or caretakers. So how do you call them out in that meta description? And you always want to include what's called a call to action. So a basic example would be click here to learn more. But you can also have something like click here to learn how to get started. Usually the more detailed and the more specific you can be in that call to action, the better. So those are your page titles and your meta descriptions. Now your page title is important for your SEO. It does have a direct impact, and you always want to make sure that you include your target keyword, and preferably you want to include that target keyword at the beginning of the page title. Now sometimes that won't work because you do want to make it so that it's readable, but always try to make that a goal to include that target keyword for the page, and then also include it at the beginning of the page title. So that covers page titles and meta descriptions. Now I'm going to talk a bit about alt tags. And to do that, I'm actually going to add an image so you can see the process from the beginning. So an alt tag in a nutshell, it was originally intended for people who are visually impaired, who aren't able to actually see the image on the screen. So that alt tag, it's like a description of that image. And you can actually, it's actually very important because Google really likes user-friendly websites, and alt tags are just one way you can enhance the user-friendliness on your site. So in WordPress, what you would do, you would just go to Add Media to get the image, and I'm just going to pick any image here so we can move quickly. So let's just say we're going to use this one, and you set your alt text here. So it's called alt tag, and here it's called alt text, but it's the same thing. And then we can just pick Houston SEO agency. That's one of the target keywords I'm going after. But of course, you want to use something that's relevant for your business. And then I always like to include my company name here too, just to add a bit more branding there. Now, what's very important to remember here, there is something called keyword stuffing, where if you're using the same exact keyword in the page title, maybe you're also using it in your meta description, and of course you want to use it in your content, and then you might also be using it in your URL. And let's say you use it again here in your alt text, it can become a bit too much. So you always want to modify or add different variations of your keyword so that you're not keyword stuffing and what we call over optimizing for a particular keyword. So here I'm using Houston SEO agency. I can also use Houston SEO company, Houston SEO consultant, Houston SEO services, and so on. So I'll just use Houston SEO agency, and then you insert it into the post. And there you go, you have an image. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So you want to make sure that for each image on your page, you have some type of alt tag. And just keep in mind that you don't want to stuff your keywords or overuse them. So I'm just going to delete that. Now, next I'm going to go over URLs. And this is another place or another feature where we can use Yoast to set it correctly. So your slug, this is going to be the segment of the URL after your what's called your top level domain. So my top level domain is destinymarketingsolutions.com. And then after that, the slug is going to be this little piece after. So if you can imagine this on the screen, it's going to be destinymarketingsolutions.com/SEO Works Guide Houston Business Owners. And here, again, you want to try to include your target URL or your target keyword. But again, always keep in mind you don't want to over-optimize for the same exact keyword phrase over and over again. So definitely diversify that a bit. And you'll also notice here, so the title of the article is An SEO Guide for Houston Business Owners. I just used the main keywords from that title, so SEO Works Guide for Houston Business Owners. So take out the fors, the ands, the ors, the the, anything that's not really important for someone to get what that page is about. And that's another benefit of using Yoast. If you're beginning with SEO, it'll point out that you are using what's called a stop word in your URL. So that's pretty much it for URLs. With those, you want to try to keep those as short as possible. There isn't, a particular range, but, if you're not adding all of those filler keywords, you should be good as far as your URL length. Now that we went over URLs, we went over page titles, meta descriptions, and alt tags, let's take a look at heading tags. And this, again, is another place you want to use for optimizing for keywords. But again, remember, you don't want to use the same exact phrase or keyword each time. So one thing about WordPress, and I see this often, is that whatever you put here, and this is the title of the article, that's automatically given the heading 1 tag. And for proper SEO, on-page SEO, you only want one heading 1 tag per page. So what that implies is, if whatever you put up here, you want to make sure that your keyword is there. If there's one place you want to put your exact match keyword, it should be your heading 1 and your page title. Now, with that, another implication, of that being your heading 1 is that you don't want to make any other subheadings in your article or page heading 1s. So, when you're looking at different subheadings, you want to make sure you're using either heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, and there are rare cases where you might need a heading 5 or a heading 6. Something I see often is that website owners, they will use these heading tags to modify the look and feel of their subheadings. That's not the right way to do it. If you want to change the way a heading looks after you add a heading tag, or if you just want to change the look and feel of regular text, that's what CSS is for. And if you're not familiar with CSS, then I advise that you work with a website developer who can help you with the look and feel of text on your pages. So going back to the heading, so heading 2, usually that's another place you want to include either your target keywords or alternative phrases related to your keywords. And think about this as an outline if you're writing a paper, right? So heading 1, that should always only be one of those per page, but you should have some heading 2s, and then under heading 2s, you're going to have heading 3s and heading 4s. But it should be that hierarchy. You should never have a heading 2 under a heading 3. It just doesn't make sense, and it makes it difficult for Google's search bots to really analyze your page and figure out what it's about. So it should all flow just as if you were writing a paper. So, I like to have at least a few heading 2 tags. Sometimes this can be difficult if you are, if you're working with a short article. But yeah, try to have heading 2s and heading 3s at the minimum. And one other benefit of using these heading tags, it does break up your text a bit. So it's not just one big block of text that your website visitor is reading. They are, different sections, so they can kind of scan it. It makes it more scannable. And that's very important, when you're looking at your user engagement metrics, and especially if people are using mobile to use your website, it makes the content a lot more scannable. Okay, so that's pretty much it for heading tags. Just remember to try to use them where applicable. Now, finally, to wrap up this video, I'm going to go over a bit about external and internal links. So if you've ever been on a page and you click a link and it either goes to a page on another website, that would be an external link. If it goes to a page on another page on the same website, that's an internal link. And so the way you modify that, you're going to use what's called in this plugin here, or this little toolbar here. I don't think for WordPress, it might depend on what version you're using, but I don't think for WordPress it's there by default. So you actually have to install this as a plugin. And there are different options out there. So I would just say any type of content editor plugin should do the trick. Now, to add those links, you'll just highlight whatever text you want to have as your anchor. So in this case, I want SEO tutorial to be my anchor, and I want it to go to my SEO training page. So from there, you would go to edit and click this little wheel icon, this little gear icon, and then from here, you'll put whatever page you want it to go to. So you can either put a URL from another website or put a URL from another page on your website. If you are already, if it's a link that's going to another page on your website, you can just type in, the main keyword for that website or main phrase, and you can actually find, whatever page you want to use there. And one thing that's really important is that you always want your links, whether they're external or internal, to open in a new tab. This makes sure that you keep your average time on page high. And if you are linking to another website, it doesn't negatively affect your average time on website or your bounce rate. So always make sure you click this box here to open a link in a new tab. So, and there's a little bit more to be said about internal and external linkers, especially on the anchor text piece. I'm going to create a future video where I dive more into detail about that. But for now, just remember, I like to have at least 3 to 5 external links or links to other websites on my page, and then 3 to 5 internal links or links to other pages on my own website. And for those external links, I like to link out to my other social profiles. So one page I always link to is my Facebook business page. And then you might want to link out to some .edu pages or some .gov pages. So I'll actually leave a link in the video description below with a tutorial or another video that goes more into detail on how to find relevant .edus and .gov pages to link to. And then I always like to link to my homepage from all of my articles, just to add more internal links going that direction. But hopefully this video has been helpful. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. And I look forward to bringing you more SEO tutorial videos. Take care and have a great day.